Hi. Okay, so yeah, obviously I didn't eat a bullet. Yeah, biting the bullet. Having to spend money. I must be Scottish because I just hate doing it. Anyway, it's probably not just me anymore these days. Whatever. So anyway, welcome back to Riven Motors. Is that what this channel is? I don't even know. It's been so long. Yeah, it's been way too long. I've been working like a crazy monkey, family stuff, renovating houses, but it's just I haven't been able to do the whole work-life balance stuff, and so now I'm trying to make up for it. And yeah, I got prodded by one of my viewers that was like, "What? Seriously? It's been a year. No update at all." So, thank you. I'm updating today. So what have I been up to? I've been spending a little bit of money buying stuff, and I've been spending a lot of time, probably way too much time, watching other really productive guys on YouTube do some really amazing work. And part of it is because I want to start kind of moving into the bodywork aspect of this stuff. And I don't want to screw it up because I'm still almost a complete newbie at doing this stuff. And apparently if you go about it the wrong way, you can really start going down the wrong road and screw things up. And so I just wanted to be able to approach it from a logical standpoint, if that makes sense. But yes, you can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs, so yeah, I'm going to be jumping into it fairly soon. I just was going to share with you some of the YouTube guys, their channels that I have been watching. I'll just kind of list them off here. Cold War Motors, Scott is always just a fantastic guy to watch. He's got a great channel. He also referred his viewers over to Carter Auto Restyling, which is another guy up in Canada who is really entertaining, really knows his body work. He just really, I've accused him of taking brand new panels and beating the crap out of them and then running the footage in reverse, because it's uncanny what this guy can resurrect a destroyed rusty old fender into something that looks, you're like, well, okay, that doesn't look new, but that's really, really good. I mean, so yeah, watch him if you want to learn the right way to approach body work. Ray Shaline's Pro Shaper Workshop, he's fantastic. I'd love to take one of his courses. Envision Prototypes, another Canadian guy who's doing some really incredible Restomod body work, just completely, just changes stuff. He's got a lot of experience, and he goes about it in a very well-presented manner as well, and very well-spoken. Make It Custom with a K. The guys on that channel, the main guy, they just dive in and do a really good job of presenting what they're doing and how they're doing it. And also locally up in north of me, a guy named Chris at, I think his channel is called At the Red Barn. Chris, I apologize if I screwed that up. I'll fix it in the description or when I edit it. He has been doing some Porsche 914 Restomods, where he puts just crazy engines in them and just does fantastic fabrication. Just incredibly well thought out, obsessive, detailed, artistic stuff. Really good stuff. And also just other good bodywork. Sylvester's Customs, I think they're down in LA, and Soup Classic Motoring, he's in Ireland or Scotland? My memory just, I can't absorb enough stuff in my memory to actually remember this stuff. But George at Soup Classic Motoring, super amazing videos. Just he does like stop motion videos. So he not only does the work, but he takes himself out of the frame, and you see the process kind of happening in front of you in kind of almost time-lapse fashion, and it's like incredible. Anyway, so those guys, it's like when you watch these videos with such attention and focus, and you're trying to pick up everything, at the end of the video, you're exhausted, like you did all the work. And so weirdly enough, I guess I've just been spending way too much time watching this stuff and feeling like I've done all the work and nothing has happened. So yeah, I'm here, I'm doing it. So, okay, anyway. So what have I been doing? So I've been doing further sort of disassembly, taking off trim and stuff like that. I finished taking off the other flying buttress panels on the passenger side, which was a little bit more involved than the driver's side. The driver's side, I just had to drill out the spot welds and do a cut, and it fairly easily came out. The spot welds on the other side, and it was just like, it was a little bit rustier, but there were more spot welds. It was just, because there's the catch mechanism on that side that I think was welded in with everything else. Maybe it made it more problematic, but yeah, it was definitely a little bit more of a job to remove this one carefully. And there's a guy up in Oregon who coincidentally wants this. So I will just got a big long box, and I'll be packaging these up so that I can get a shipping quote so you can have these, because initially I decided I was going to make it set up so that I could switch back and forth between the solid buttresses and the flying buttresses, if the mood struck me. This past year I've also been spending a lot of time looking hard at this car going, I want this, it's, okay, as much as I hate spending money on stuff, and I guess if I had won the lottery or something like that, I would be blowing money left and right, like all of us. I would be blowing money, without a care on buying stuff. I don't really see myself being willing to blow money on like a Ferrari or anything else. And I really don't want to have these objects to, I gotta have them, covet them. All I really want is the experience. I would love to, experience driving some of these cars, but I don't want to have them. I don't want to have them so that I can have the bills that that they inevitably accrue. So I've been thinking with this car, I'm not going to restore it, back to obviously factory original. I've kind of gone past that point with a lot of this stuff. What I am going to do is make it sort of my own vision of how I really think this car should be. I'm not going to, I'm doing my best not to copy anyone, although I've been influenced, of course, as we all are. So I'm going to change how the car kind of looks a little bit more, change how some of the stuff is laid out and it operates. I'm not wild about how the engine deck lid opens up sideways, and especially in this instance where I've pushed the powertrain so far forward, it's almost useless. It's like, okay, great, this one area is out of the way, but the solid buttresses are totally in the way of really doing anything. And of course, there's going to be an access panel inside the car, and that's probably going to be used quite a bit. But as far as just having a little more access to everything, I think I'm going to tie together the solid buttresses and the deck lid, and fabricate a hinge setup so that it's kind of like a Ferrari Testarossa, where everything hinges and comes up like that, and that will just allow for so much more access to stuff. I mean, it's not like I'm going to get a ton of access, but really it's just it will make it a lot more accessible. And also with the rear fenders, because I want to do a little more kind of fancy schmancy stuff with it, and I need to learn some body work also. And there's also this wonderful crease that goes along this. And I thought I did it recently, but no, I looked at all my old videos, and that's always been there. It's weird how you just don't notice stuff when you're infatuated with looking at other things. I don't want to, make little whitened wheel wells right around there. What I'm thinking about doing is there's a guy with a Montecarlo Scorpion in the Netherlands, And what he did is he cut the rear fender off, and at the back end of it, he widened each side like 4 or 5 inches. Like, I mean, so that it, it just basically took it and just widened the back of it and maintained the connection here. He probably had to do a little something, but it just made the car look so much nicer. And I think going that far, like 4 or 5 inches, is kind of cuckoo bananas. As cool as it did look, I think coming out like maybe 2 inches or 3 inches would really help the lines of the car. And not that this isn't a beautiful car as is, but I don't want to go down the road of making an 037 kind of thing. I don't want to just radically change all the bodywork. I do like the kind of the design and purity of it. I just want to make it just a little bit. I guess I'm just an idiot. Yeah, I guess unique, whatever. Anyway, so that's kind of what I'm pursuing. One of the things I did do just recently was I converted the hubs to studs. And I'll give you guys a close-up of it. But yeah, there's a website that this guy runs, Serpent Autosport. And they mainly deal with Alfa Romeos, but in their wheel accessories, he sells wheel studs. And what I was running into is, I hate using bolts because you can never really center the wheels over the holes very well. And also the Maserati Biturbo wheels that I also have really deep wheel stud. They're like really thick, and so it eats up all of the thread of like the old bolts that I had. I could maybe get like maybe a thread or 2 or 3 of the old wheel bolts that I had, and so I was like, I wanted to go to studs, and so the guy was really nice. He allowed me to kind of like see what studs worked for me. He sent me a set, and they weren't long enough, so I decided to go with a full 3-inch length, and they're perfect. Yeah, they do stick out of beyond the wheel a little bit around the hub, especially on these wheels. They kind of stick out a little bit, but I'm fine with that. So it's like a totally objective thing. But now, so yeah, it has nuts now instead of studs or bolts, and I just like it so much better. It will just make other things so much easier to deal with. Also, so what else? I broke down and bought some coil springs for the coilovers that I need to build. These are QA1. I think I got it from Summit, and these are, I guess, progressive. So these go from like 140 pounds at the little at the soft end, and then they go up to 250 pounds when they go up to the main spring rate. And for the rears, I went with 225s and 475s for the rear. So we'll see how those go. Anyway, I also picked up a limited slip differential for the Subaru WRX 5-speed. This is a Chinese OBX torsion limited slip differential, and I think it's basically a copy of a Quaife or something like that. Regardless, it's like half the price or whatever, and I think it's going to be good enough. All right, so there's that. I bought, this big, it's a WRX radiator. I think it was for like a 2006 or 2007. It's a nice big aluminum radiator, and I can barely fit it in, but I think I can use it. I only got it for 50 bucks, so it was worth a shot. I got some more exhaust pieces so I can start fabricating the exhaust. I got some Ford Focus top mounts for the coilovers. So we'll see how those work. Let's see. I already talked about that. Oh, the fuel tank. Right, so yeah, I did do more work on the fuel tank from that fuel tank video from a year ago. Let's just take a little walk over here. So yeah, here's where it sits. It's a nice size now. I think it still is probably around 13 or 14 gallons. Yeah, and anybody that's kind of worried about me welding up these ends on the tank, the only thing I'm concerned about is the galvanizing. And I got some muriatic acid so that I can clean that galvanizing off before I braze the ends together. And well, yes, of course, I still need to baffle it. But yeah, this tank didn't even hold the gas. There was a plastic insert. That's kind of a blow molded insert, which was this. This was the end cap of this huge thing that was inside that Corvette tank. And so I guess they make this, and then they bolt the flange to the top there, and then they take both halves and put the metal halves together and do that pinch weld. I guess it's like a big spot weld, but it just is a pinch weld along the whole thing, and it doesn't bother the plastic tank or whatever. So yeah, this metal actually never had fuel, like liquid fuel in it. It might have had some fumes from that plastic tank, but yeah, so there's no like residual fuel in this, so that's not going to be a danger with that. And yeah, I think I'm getting it so that it's sitting fairly close to the axle line of the front wheels, so it's not going to be very much weight beyond that. So I'm adding more weight up front to help with braking, but it's not going to be hopefully adversely affecting the handling. I was able to find a replacement hood, perhaps, on Facebook Marketplace because, Jesus, this thing's really had it. Hopefully, maybe you guys cross your fingers that this very nice lady who's selling a Lancia Scorpion with a bunch of extra parts on behalf of her late husband will consider selling me that hood, because that would really help out. Yeah, because I guess I can deal with that one, but who really wants to? What else? Coming over here. Yeah, so the battery did go up front, at the very front corner of the front trunk compartment, and wasn't helping handling it all. What I have on either side of the engine is a nice big space for a battery on either side. And I'm probably going to put the battery on the passenger side so that the weight distribution remains fairly balanced. If I'm driving it by myself, it'll help offset my weight in the driver's seat. Yeah, and oh yeah, so yeah, here we go. Those are the wheel studs in place on this. And, I think they're actually really cool. That's just me, though. Let's see. So, yeah, it hasn't been just, a crazy car productive thing, but I have been accumulating tools and stuff like that that are going to help me do this work. So the tools that, I went to Harbor Freight and got some bodywork tools, ready to just take off and do bodywork. Unfortunately, that's not really the case with a lot of these tools. I'm glad that I was able to get them for a reasonable price, but the machining, they don't do. They get a hammer shape when you buy them, but they leave like a sharp, kind of edge instead of a nice smooth transition. And so when you are doing body work, with these, without modifying them, you're leaving nice little sharp smiley faces in the panel that you're trying to smooth out. So yeah, all of these tools need a little bit of loving and radiusing and smoothing. Because I'm doing all the body work and just sort of general stuff in particular, I got myself an oxyacetylene torch set up. I don't have a TIG, I have a MIG welder, and I'm very happy to have that. But I wanted to get an oxyacetylene torch, and well, basically it was almost free. It was a garage was going out of business, and they put on Craigslist free, please take all these gas cylinders. And they were like these like 4, 5 foot, 5 foot tall gas cylinders. And so I got a complete oxyacetylene torch setup for free, almost. And I picked up some hoses and torches off Craigslist. This is a Henrob / Cobra micro torch. Not like a micro torch, but it's not like a standard torch. It has very small, tight, controlled flame, and has a couple of different tips for it. And what I've been practicing doing is, they used to use gas welding for doing car bodies. And it's good for brazing and all that stuff. And for, if you need heat to bend something or to shape stuff, gas torch is a very valuable thing to have. I guess the difference between, because everyone's like moving on to gas into TIG torches, TIG welders for doing body work, because unlike the MIG is good for body work. You have to be able to know how to use it. But the MIG welder will leave really hard welds when you weld it, because it melts so quickly and then it cools so quickly. The welds are incredibly hard, and if you are doing body work, you have to be really careful how you use them, because if whatever you're welding along that line, if the welds start to really shrink up and contract and starting to create warping in the panel, what you typically do is you take your body hammer and everything and smooth out, and just kind of hit those welds and trying to stretch them again, so that the body work just kind of relaxes and lays in the plane that you want it to be. It's not so easy with a MIG, because the welds are very hard. TIG welders are not as hot. They leave a softer weld, which allows you to kind of body work those welds. The oxyacetylene is an even softer weld, because this tip doesn't even get as hot as the TIG. But the thing is a standard oxyacetylene torch can leave a fairly big heat affected zone. You have to put in a lot of energy, a lot of heat with a gas torch in order to do the weld, and that will heat up all the surrounding metal and start causing issues. I've been playing around with this. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm just experimenting. but the tip on this torch is very small and tightly controlled. And since the sheet metal that I'm going to be welding is only going to be like 20 or 18 gauge steel, you don't need just an absolute, a huge flame going into it. So I've been practicing on some really thin 22 gauge steel, doing some welds, and seeing if I can create really small, tight, heat-affected zones with a very small, tightly controlled tip like this. Jury's still out on it, but I'm getting some experience on it, and it might work out. We'll see. Anyway, I've been doing some practicing doing MIG stuff. Okay, yeah. I guess we're ready to talk about some of the work I did on the house, which gave me this thing, which you'll see in a second. Sorry, I'm drinking a lot of tea because I tried to record this all before. I did this whole spiel before, and it didn't record anything. And my throat got a little tired from talking so much. So anyway, when I was working on the house, I had to replace the furnace. There was like a furnace from like 1960. Here we are, back from our little commercial break. Yeah, so I found this inside the furnace. And one of the things that, I don't have right now, I don't have a shop to work on stuff. This is just the garage. My wife's car is usually in here. I'm trying to get ready to build a shop so that I will probably put her car over here and this will be my shop. Anyway, I don't have a lot of metal tools. I don't have a lathe. I would love to have a lathe. Don't have a mill. I have a drill press. I don't have a tipping wheel. I don't have a sheet metal brake. I don't have a lot of like sheet metal working tools. I know a lot of workarounds, but one of the things that you start paying a lot of attention to when you don't have these things is what you can get for free as far as structural stuff. And yes, you can go to the junkyards and perhaps pull sheet metal stuff from a car, but that's very problematic because they typically don't want you bringing in like power tools and stuff like that. They just, you got a ratchet set, that's all you're allowed. Anyway, so I got this heat exchanger unit out of the furnace because I was eyeballing all of this pressing that created this. And I was like, a lot of this is very flat, usable, a lot of this stuff. It's very nice, very strong stuff. This is 18 gauge steel. And I need to replace the floor pans in this car. And you're like, well, Chris, that's not going to be large enough at all to replace the floor pans. But actually, kind of yeah, because there's two halves to each of this. So there's literally 4 panels in this. And it's almost the right size for in here. And I was tempted to buy, you can get the Lancia Scorpion Montecarlo floor pans from Italy. There's a company that still makes the floor pans, and they'll sell you them. if you wanna pay like $1,600 for some floor pans. I don't want to pay that much. I got this car for $200. I was considering getting some, and if these don't work out, I still will possibly go this direction, some Porsche 911 floor pans. Because the Porsche 911, this car is almost the exact same dimensions as a Porsche 911. And so, and the floor pans are just brilliantly designed, and there's a lot of people still making those. They still, it's probably like between 5 or 6, probably, nowadays, probably $600-700 for a set of floor pans. We'll see. I don't know. But I am really curious to see if these will work. Partly because I'm just insane and I like, I don't know, I'm just tired of getting nickel and dimed by everything in this world. And so I like to think about the creative options that are out there. So, yeah, I think that's probably going to be it for this update. I am going to be making videos of me actually doing work and not talking. I don't like these videos of me talking, honestly. But it had been such a long time since I had put up a video, I figured I at least owed it to you for that. Anyway, I hope everyone was doing well. And I hope, I know a lot of people were going through a really tough time. But I hope we're still able to treat each other with dignity and with honor. And I love all of you guys that want to tune in and watch my craziness. I'm just going to try and keep doing the best I can and be as good of a person as I can be. Anyway, thank you for joining me, and you have my best wishes and best thoughts. I hope you all take care. Bye-bye.